So today's question comes from Jenna K. And her question is, can you please help me find time to manage my money? I'm working so hard to accumulate money and I find I never have time and I need some help. So I thought, what a timely question, because let's face it, we all have this challenge with certain things in our life. So that's what we're going to dive into today is how can you find time to manage your money? Welcome to the Millionaire Insider Podcast, formerly the Wealth Inside and Out podcast, where we help you create a confident, secure retirement and life you love. I'm Annette Bahu, certified financial planner, founder of the Millionaire Insider, and founder of Estate and Retirement Strategies, a registered investment advisor. For 36 years, I've helped pre-retirees and retirees turn their paychecks into guaranteed income, reduce unnecessary risk, and protect their legacy, as well as design a retirement filled with purpose and freedom. Because true wealth isn't just about money, it's about confidence, clarity, and control over your future. For today's free resource, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/5Q. If you have over $500,000 in investable assets, including IRAs or retirement monies or personal monies, or are making over $200,000 a year of income, you can take our 5Q quiz to determine your next best step at themillionaireinsider.com/5Q. Now, if that doesn't describe you and you're still on the path to working to get to your first 500,000 or a million in investable assets, we have created the Money, Confidence, and Clarity Masterclass just for you. And you can access it at themillionaireinsider.com/MCC. This class will help you get clarity and create confidence so you can better manage your money and achieve your financial and life goals. Again, you can access it at themillionaireinsider.com/MCC. For today's show notes, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/159. The Millionaire Insider copyrights all materials and intellectual property. This information is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace any advisor or specialist or to provide any investment, financial, tax, retirement planning, or healthcare advice. By accessing this content, you agree to hold the Millionaire Insider and its affiliates harmless for results achieved or not achieved. So let's dive into today's question. I just love the question. And I think it's just such a timely one because let's face it, so many of us feel like we don't have the time to get things done that we want to get done. And it can be really challenging. And I know for a fact, I find that I sometimes feel so overwhelmed because I have so much to do. We just got back from, this is embarrassing to admit, boy, we just got back from La Jolla, my husband and I, and it's like, here it is Easter. And we were actually going to cancel our family dinner. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Easter. Boy, just a lot going on. So I get it. Okay, as I mentioned, our question today is all about finding time to manage your money. And it's challenging with all the commitments we have. Oftentimes money ends up at the bottom of the pile. Finding time to manage your money can be challenging because while it's important, generally it's not urgent unless you've neglected it to the point that now it's a crisis and then it's often too late. But let's face it, it's kind of like eating healthy. In the moment when you're eating stuff you shouldn't be eating, it tastes so good and you want to eat it. But, if you knew that you were going to have a heart attack in 5 years, or if you knew that by eating a Big Mac or something that's going to give you a heart attack, that you were going to have a heart attack as soon as you ate it, a lot fewer people would be eating foods like that, right? It's the same thing when it comes to money. I was sitting next to a pharmacist on my flight back from California, and he shared that, his mom has just not made the right financial choices. And he said because of that, he is so on top of his finances. He saves a lot. He has 2 rental properties. It's a priority in his life because of what he's seen with his mom. Basically, all she has is Social Security. And he said she barely gets by. He actually purchased a home that she rents from him. And so that's how she survives. But that's what happens when we don't make it a priority. Our lives are so busy We have so many commitments, family and friends. We've got to keep our family intact. And, if you want solid friendships, you got to make that a priority. We've got our health, we've got our exercise, we've got our self care, we've got our careers. And so many times, the last thing on that list is money. So let's face it, managing money can seem like it's just basically stripping us of our time. And for many of us, it can be overwhelming. One of my favorite quotes from the book Essentialism is the vital few versus the trivial many. I feel that quote is the essence of creating the time you need to manage your money. I'm going to share with you 3 steps to help you better manage your money, but I want you to think about this concept first of all. I truly don't think the issue is really a time issue because what we value, we find time to incorporate into our lives. I also think that there's so much information out there that can be so overwhelming. I mean, I listen to some of these podcasts and I'm like, God, how does the average person do this? They give you so many things to do that your head is spinning. And so what I want you to really get clear on is that there are a few essential things you need to do, but you don't have to do everything. And for some of you, the first step that I'm going to share with you is going to have your head spinning going, what? But the first thing I want you to do is determine your why. Determining your purpose is helpful in prioritizing what's important in your life. When we're really clear on why we're doing something, it changes everything. As a result, you can connect your why to managing your money, and that can help it become a priority. Oftentimes when I say to somebody, what is your ultimate purpose? Or I ask, what's really important in your life? Common responses are my family, my friends, my health, my spirituality or faith, self-care, travel, fun. And I agree, all of those are really important. And then I want you to take it to the next step. For some, it's going to help you to ask how money will help with those priorities. So for example, if you say family is really important, well, how will money help out with family? Well, it allows me to help them in times of need. I can help fund my kids, my grandkids, my nieces and nephews' education or medical care. What about friends? I can pick up the tab. I can take my girlfriends on a trip. I can help them out if they need it and not worry about being paid back. What about health? Well, it allows me, my family, and loved ones to get the best healthcare possible. Well, what about self-care? Well, it allows me to eat a really healthy diet and work out at my favorite gym and yoga studio. What about spirituality? It allows me to attend retreats I want to attend. Now, some of this may be like right now, real time, but some of it's going to be in retirement. The key is that you have money now to do what you want, but you also have money when you retire. What about travel? It allows you to go to more exotic places or maybe just travel more. I used to love to travel until, as a top producer, all you have are trips. It's like crazy. And you get so tired of them that I love not going anywhere. It's just so funny how before I traveled, that's all I wanted to do. And now all I want to do is stay at one of my houses. And maybe it's just having more fun. What I want you to get is the fact that when you tie money to what's important in your life, it becomes a bigger priority and you can start seeing the value of it. People say, well, money doesn't matter. Well, what does? Oh, I'm, my dog charity or my cancer charity or my church. Well, if you have more money, can you help them out more? Absolutely. That is the key, is to figuring out what your ultimate why is. I hope it's not money. The goal of money is what it can do for you, not just to accumulate it for the heck of it. All right. The second insight on why you don't have time is because we think we need to know everything and do it all. We often don't even know what the all is. As I mentioned, I sometimes am listening to podcasts just randomly, financial ones. And gosh, some of them give me a headache. They are throwing so much stuff at you. And, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, and you got to do this. And I thought, the average person is just going to tune it out and not do it. Because the reality of it is that if you did everything they told you to do, that's all you'd be doing. So I want you to just get clear on there are a few critical pieces you got to do, but the other stuff you can let go. As you get more money, you can hire an advisor and they can help you. You can offload a lot of it. So it's not so overwhelming. The second one is to really get clear on essentials. Determining what is essential in your life is critical to determining your money goals and how to effectively manage your money so that it will support you in achieving your short and long-term goals. You want to determine your needs. That's the first thing. Needs are like your housing, insurance, essential food, as well as your wants, dining out, travel, entertainment. Now, it's really important to have a plan for wants and needs, but the goal is to determine how much money you need to replace your paycheck so that you can live a life you love. Now, if you're like me, you want to have both your needs and wants covered by guaranteed income. You may not, and that's fine. But if you do, then just make sure you're clear on those numbers. Now, if you don't have a pension, meaning your company doesn't offer one, as many no longer do, you've got to determine how much you must accumulate to create your own private pension, which is basically guaranteed income, where you're giving a lump sum amount of money to an insurance company, and they're going to guarantee a certain amount of money that you're going to get for the rest of you and or your spouse's life. This is going to allow you to worry less about running out of money. So you're going to have certainty of what you've got coming in. It's just basically an agreement with you and an insurance company. And one of the reasons I love it so much is if you set it up properly, the insurance company will actually fund your retirement. And you got to look at the numbers. There's various things you got to do to figure it out. You got to look at your health, your guesstimated longevity, your family's longevity, financial resources, tax rates. This is also critical because many people lose thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars because they don't look at the impact of taxes. And it's so critical. And then what you got to do is just analyze what makes sense, the amount of money that's available, and when you should begin taking it. All those things are really important. And one thing that I find fascinating, and as I've shared with you, is how many people are taking Social Security early. Sometimes I agree with it and sometimes I don't. And so you really do need to consult with a qualified advisor before you make a decision like that, because the wrong decision can be devastating. If you do need support determining when to take Social Security, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/support. Once you know the answer to this step, you have the information you need to determine the action you need to take. And this is going to take a lot of pressure off you. It's also going to eliminate many of the financial steps that are likely overwhelming you, feeling like you have to do everything. You don't. There are a few key pieces of information, but you don't have to worry about all of it. Now, a lot of people, myself included, set this up for our kids. Because the biggest risk our kids have is what? I mean, you really think Social Security is going to be around? We're already at 40 trillion in our debt, and now they want another 1.5 trillion. I mean, it's just, you can't make this up. And it's so interesting how no one's really talking about Social Security or Medicare. Well, my friend, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are the three biggest expenses. And, they're just cutting here and cutting there, and the writing's on the wall. And I think our children, if we can do one thing for them, is really set up where they have that guaranteed income that Social Security provides and hopefully will provide us during our lifetime. The last insight is important for a few reasons. The main one being what you need to be doing now so that you can thrive in retirement. So number 3 is income. You've got to determine your current income as well as your future need for income. This step requires that you confirm you're saving enough money to achieve your income goal in retirement. And that requires that you determine what your need is going to be. Now, if you're several years off from retiring, that's fine. You want to guesstimate it and then make sure and factor in inflation. Once you determine your retirement need, you're in a position to confirm that you're saving enough money to fund your retirement and that guaranteed income. If you're not saving enough money, you got to determine how to cut back or spend less, or determine what you need to do to earn more money. Or ideally, a combination of both, meaning cutting back and earning more money. Once you know that, then you're in a position to say, okay, this is what I have to do, meaning how much you have to save. And if you can do that, you can figure out what return you need on your money. If you're more conservative, then you're going to need to save more. If you're a little more aggressive, maybe not. It kind of depends on what the market does. But it gives you a roadmap to be able to determine if you're on course or if you need to make a change so that you're going to be okay. The power of this is that it just starts giving you certainty of your future, and it gives you peace of mind because you're not worried about, oh my gosh, am I going to be okay, or what do I need to do? So I want to give you a few tips before we conclude. It can feel like money is so hard and complicated, and there are numbers that you've got to know, but I think that some of the making it complicated process is intentional, meaning that you can't do it without hiring someone. Now, in your accumulation years, until you start getting, probably 250 to 500,000, I really think you can do it on your own. Now, if you just feel completely uncomfortable, then maybe you need some help. But I think the time when somebody really needs an advisor is when they're about 10 years out from retirement and they're figuring out how to structure that paycheck, how to structure the income, and how to reduce taxes. That's when you really need an advisor. Number 2, look at the value of joint decisions when it comes to your money management. If you're asking, how can I better manage my money, and you have a partner you trust, enroll them in helping you in the process. It's going to relieve the burden and it's going to make the process easier. Society has over promoted men's ability to manage money, and it puts so much pressure on many men who just simply aren't qualified. And then it also gets women to believe they're terrible at money. As a result, you hear women saying, money isn't my thing, or I don't do money, or I hate numbers, or I don't do numbers. The best scenario I see is input from both partners. One typically makes quicker or faster decisions. The other one is more patient and can remain really calm in a storm. You combine the two, and you often have a much better ability to make financial decisions that improve your odds of achieving your financial goals and dreams. When I look at some of the best portfolios my clients have, one is more conservative, one is more aggressive, and the combination is ideal. And then number 3, automate everything you can: savings, investing, bill paying. If you can automate it, do it. It's going to save you hours. And then 4th, if you have a business, I do encourage you to track one more number, and that's your income. Just your daily income. This strategy has an ability to help you keep your eye on the target, your income, and it's one of the best decisions I've incorporated. Now, don't get me wrong, the ultimate goal is to serve people, but assuming you're serving people and doing the best you can do, then watching your income and tracking it, and especially if you're in a business where you can create recurring revenue, that's ideal. But I have seen so many of my clients incorporate this, and it has helped them immensely in achieving their financial goals. So I really encourage you to also track that number. Just as a recap, number 1, you got to determine your purpose, your why. 2, you got to look at the essentials. What do you need? What do you want as far as spending? And then number 3, income now as well as in the future. If you want a quick assessment of your retirement readiness, you can take our quiz at themillionaireinsider.com/RRQ. Our retirement readiness quiz is just really designed to help you look at what you're doing right and where there are gaps and what you need to do next. So again, you can access it at themillionaireinsider.com/RRQ. If you need help managing your money, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/support. I'm Annette Ba'u. All international copyrights are reserved. I'll look so forward to seeing you on our next episode. Bye for now.